Good morning, guys. Today is January the 22nd, and I am making a long overdue video post my partial hysterectomy that I had on February the 20th, 2015. And today is January the 22nd, 2017. So roughly almost a month away from being 2 years. The reason I had my partial hysterectomy was because I had several fibroids, pretty large in size, that was just causing me so much complications. For example, attending my kids' athletic events like basketball games or soccer games, it was just hard for me to enjoy it, for having to deal with whether or not I needed to go and change either my tampon or my pad. And more than likely, I was using them both because it was just that heavy. Day one was not bad. Day two and day three, I was literally on like an hour time frame where I was constantly having to change my tampon every hour. And I was having change the tampons every hour. So you're looking at, I'm using the largest absorbent that you can buy for tampons, and then having to wear like overnight pads while at work on day two. Day three, it will start to taper off. It wasn't as bad, but day two just pretty much controlled my life. I never wanted to go out when it was during the time of my cycle. I would always plan events. So like if friends wanted to go out, if it was around that time, I wouldn't go because I would be miserable. So I reached out to my doctor, I would say probably about September. Yeah, I reached out to her about September of 2014. And we had the ultrasound done, and she told me about the fibroids. She gave me a couple of options. I did not immediately go straight to having surgery. The first things I wanted to do was just research it more. What were some alternatives? And some of the alternatives were cutting out red meat, coming off of any caffeine. So those were the things that I started to do to try to see if I can avoid it. I say I was at one of my son's games, and I got there at the beginning of the girls' game, and of course I had to change. But first I changed sanitary stuff before I left work. Then when I got to the game, I changed again like mid halftime or maybe the third quarter of the girls' game. Then I went back in to change again right before the boys' game. So if you know anything about high school basketball, it's like 8-minute quarters, and then you have like a 6 or 8 minute halftime. So then changed again at the beginning of the boys' game, where I couldn't make it through the boys' game. By second quarter of the boys' game, I said to my husband, I was like, hey, I don't think I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna go ahead and leave at halftime. And he was just like, okay. Well, I actually couldn't make it to halftime. So you're looking at by the end of the second quarter, I was telling my daughter, I was like, okay, hey, let's go ahead and go. I'm going home. You can stay with your dad or you can go with me. And of course, she was like, I'll go with you. So we got home, and it's just, you just start to realize, like, okay, even with the changes, I'm still having to deal with certain things that were just too much for me. So I went back to her, I think maybe in January, maybe. And I told her, I said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and do the surgery. And she did give me the option she told me about. I could either do a partial or a full. And she actually suggested the partial. After educating, she was just stating, with the partial, I would still maintain my ovaries, which should eliminate me going into menopause symptoms earlier. I still have my ovaries. The surgery was on February the 20th. It was inpatient. So I went in on a Friday morning. And the crazy part is we had like a snowstorm, like about that Tuesday of that week. And I was just like, man, I hope this does not interfere with me having this surgery. But my husband was just like, hey, if you want to go, I'll get you there. So he was able to get me there on time. I went in on Friday morning for the surgery. Um, the surgery didn't last long. Everything was a success. Afterwards, I stayed at the hospital. I think I checked out on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, they gave me pain meds and just pretty much told me to, not to eat as heavy. Now, where I messed up is they were giving me stool softeners in the hospital. And I completely forgot about that by the time I got home. So I would say like around a week and a half of being at home, I was severely, and when I say severe, I was probably chronic. It was just the worst constipation ever. Um, to the point I went to the restroom thinking I had to go. And when my body was trying to release and it couldn't, the pain was just so bad that it put me in tears. Um, so I called my husband at work and I asked him to bring stuff home for me. So he brought stuff home, and of course I was able to go. And when I went, when I say that was like the best feeling ever, it was the best feeling ever being able to go. But at that point, I just said, you know what? I know it's because of the pain meds, and I'm done. I pretty much stopped at that point taking my pain meds and just said I just deal with it. I stayed in my bed probably for about um, so I didn't leave my bedroom for like 2 weeks. Only getting up to do things here and there, like maybe getting me some water or something like that. But I was coming back to the room, getting back in the bed. Um, so that's 2 weeks, and then after that, I was able to come to the front of the house and sit like on the couch and stuff like that. Um, they will have you on weight restrictions for 6 weeks, and the weight restrictions is that you should not lift up anything heavier than uh, a gallon of milk. So I would say I probably took advantage of that to the T. But it was the best thing for me. But I enjoyed not lifting a finger. Um, but outside of that, I with me having the partial, I was cut cesarean. Cesarean length, which I had a cesarean with my daughter. So I was really familiar with what to expect. With her, I was actually able to get up and moving within the first few days. I was fairly young when I had her. How about 24, something like that. But I was able to get around pretty good. In this one, I could still move around pretty good. It's just that uneasy feeling with my stomach. Weight wise, I've pretty much maintained the weight that I was right before. I currently weigh 183 pounds. Um, so not much has changed about that. Stomach wise, it still looks the same. It's about, it's not bad. I'm solid. I've been that way. I was 145 before I had any kids, and that was right out of high school. I didn't look it, but I was. Um, but yes, I recommend if you're able to do a partial. Partial is the way to go because you're going to maintain your ovaries. Your ovaries will allow you to maintain your hormones. And in my experience, I would say if the menopause symptoms will come, it'll probably come around the time that it's supposed to come. Let me see. I do currently take vitamins. I take B12. I take B12 gummies, D3 for bones, and the only time I'm not working out is probably during the winter months, which is so backwards. But yeah, I'm not working out during those times of the year. But when I am going to the gym, I normally do a lot of cardio. Then I add glucosamine chondroitin back to my regimen at that point. Um, you know what? Let me get those containers. Okay, that was a quick pause. Okay, so for the B12, the gummies that I use, this is what I use. Love it. Take two of these every morning. my D3 for bone. I actually take these at night when I'm eating. I don't really do too good with taking a lot of supplements or pills or anything like that. It's just not a good feeling for me. So I have to break stuff up. And the glucosamine, when I am taking it, I'm taking this in the morning as well. But like I said, since I'm not actually active in the gym right now, I have not been taking the glucosamine, but I do take my D3 every day. But aside of the stuff of like what's going on, how I'm doing right now, the most important thing, like I said, I do not experience any hot flashes. For the most part, I think the only mood changes or swings I experience are just common things that I was dealing with prior to. But I handle my moods swings very well. That's when I know if I'm a little agitated, I just get to myself, because I don't never want to take something out on my husband or my children. So I just get in a completely different room. Sex for me, I feel, is so much better since I've had the procedure done. Beforehand, you know, my husband and I were active, but it was more so like my body. It's like I would do it because if he initiated, he could get me in the mood. But my body on its own wouldn't flip that switch of saying do it unless something else transpired. But since I've had the procedure, my body sends its own signals of saying, hey, let's go. So I think that is one thing that I've noticed more in regards to the sexual aspect of it. It's, I actually have my own desires ahead of there being any type of initiation on his end. And beforehand, it was rare. Like, we would definitely do it the way you should. I mean, we've been married since 2001. But it was still more so that he would initiate it and then my body would respond. Well, now my body will do it on its own. And then, not treating him like no booty calling them, but I'm just saying, my body initiates it and then I'm ready to go that route. But I know that's a concern for a lot of people, whether or not your sex drive or anything is going to be impacted. And no, I haven't had any problems with my sex drive, my mood. Like I said, we don't have those moments where he's just like, hey, you don't want to go hang with your friends. We don't have those type of moments. Once again, I will recommend the partial if you can versus the whole, because whole, more than likely you will be on some type of hormone supplement because your body will be off balance. The hormones that your body would normally create is not creating. I haven't noticed anything in regards to my stomach. Weight wise, I do feel, I don't have the best diet, which I'm working on that now. My ultimate goal is I'm transitioning in hopes of becoming vegetarian. So currently doing this first phase of the year, no beef products, which is killing me because my husband is making a great brisket today. I can smell it. It smells so good. But no beef products. And I'm cutting back on sugared drinks, trying to drink more natural flavored things. Like, I love tea, so I don't drink sweet tea anymore. I drink unsweetened tea. I drink my coffee black, and even I try not to take that in as much. But yeah, it's just trying to be more health conscious as well. And maybe that could have made an impact a long time ago where I never would have had the procedure. But after the fact, I wouldn't change that I've had it because I've been happier. The quality of life has improved since I've had the procedure done. Just all around, I wouldn't change anything. Now, if you have any questions or if I didn't cover anything, but you're just curious, please let me know and I'll be more than happy to make another video because I should have made this a long time ago.